Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and this is Keeping It Real Debt and Budget. To give you a short little intro, I'm a 40-year-old woman living in Florida working in healthcare, making just over $100,000 a year. I do have a total of $117,000 in debt. $40,000 of that is consumer debt, which I am aggressively working on paying down. I am a digital budgeter, and so I use spreadsheets and an app on my phone to track all of my different categories and how I'm doing on my spending and my budget each paycheck. I did want to go over the first paycheck of April, which is actually from the end of March, but the March 28th paycheck is going to cover the first part of April. I did have my budget on this very beautiful graphic in Canva, but I did want to bring it back over into numbers because I wanted to put in my formulas and I wanted the system to do the math for me. I do have my calculator, which is very handy for adding up things on the fly, but once I have my concrete numbers, I do want to see them in this spreadsheet. So let's go over paycheck number 1 for the beginning of April. So here we have my salary that came in. I did recently increase my TSP and I fully funded my Roth IRA for the year. So this is going to be my normal salary every 2 weeks, give or take a penny or two. So we did have the $2642.82 coming in. I had $499.78 rolling over. I did need about this amount rolling over to be able to cover the bills for this period. And so I made sure that I was conscious about my spending and my budget leading up to the end of March because I know I needed that. So for this pay period, we have the $3,142.60 to play with. So for this pay period, I do always pay myself first. I know I did discuss this in my other budgeting videos, but I want to be able to have savings and I can dump extra money towards my debt while still making sure that I have a safety buffer and that I'm saving for other things. So I do pay myself first with my savings accounts. So as soon as my paycheck hits, all of this money automatically is transferred out. I was able to put $200 this pay period towards my money market. I did add a new column just to track what my balances are going to be going forward. I have a high yield savings that I opened at the beginning of the year, and I have $50 a paycheck going into that one, and that now has $300 in it. My husband and I do not have any children, so we actually have a very large tax bill at the end of the year, so we do put away extra for taxes. So I'm having $75 extra per paycheck also go into a high yield money market, and so right now I have $250 towards next year's taxes. I have a separate savings account that it's called a Get Fit account at the credit union that I bank with, but I have $100 per paycheck, and that is kind of my working savings. So if the car needs a repair, if I need to pick up something for the house repairs, it typically comes out of this account. And so I now have the $144 in that account. And then I do have an Acorns account. I have $12.50 per pay period go into that Acorns account. Right now, my balance in my Acorns is $930, but I'll have to see what it is at the end of this pay period so that I have a total picture of what my savings is. The bills that we are covering, my next paycheck will be on the 11th of April, and so I'm only paying through that time. I will have my home warranty, my student loan, my personal loan number 2, a payment towards my Discover card, my personal loan number 1, and then my cell phone. I did go ahead and I did the balance transfer on my credit union credit card, so I transferred $2,800 onto my Capital One card, which has a 0% interest until January of next year, so I will be aggressively working on paying that one off as well. So far there is no payment that's going to be going to the credit union card because I was able to transfer that balance over. So our total for our bills for the beginning of the month is $2,017.59. For my expenses, I have my normal categories: $125 for household, $57.50 for gas, $400 for groceries, and $37.50 for pets. I already did the grocery shopping for this weekend, so it was about $153 for this week's of groceries, so that will need to go into this category. So I do only have the $620 for my regular expenses. I do expect to have some medical bills that are not covered by insurance, so I'm going to leave medical here under miscellaneous so I can track that expense. And then we have my taquitos, which is basically running into a convenience store to pick up snacks, and that is a nod towards Caleb Hammer with the financial audit. And then I am tracking my Amazon purchases. I think I'm going to need to make an Amazon purchase this pay period just for something for home repair. So that will be counted, but it'll be paid for out of a joint account we have for home repairs. But I do want to be mindful about my Amazon purchases. So our budget, looking at the month, I have $450 going to savings, the $2,000 for bills, the $620 for expenses, with our total here for our budget and then our income, we are very, very close. And that is why I needed that close to $500 rolling over for this pay period, just because I had some big ticket items as far as my personal loans, and that's why I want to work on paying those off. But those are coming out of this first paycheck of the month. So I have to be very, very aware and very close with this budget, and know that if I'm purchasing outside of my categories, that those items are coming from other funding sources, like our joint account that we use for home repairs. I'm also going to be tracking what I'm putting on my cards. Hopefully it should not be a whole lot. I did place an order for dog food on my credit union card, but my husband already did reimburse me for that, so I'm not tracking things that are just a straight wash. It's easier for me to buy the dog food myself just because I know how many bags we need, if they need any treats, if they need anything else added to their order. So I manage that on my own, and he basically, I write a check out of his account to reimburse myself. But hopefully I should not be putting anything on these cards, at least for the first part of the month. But like I said, we have some home repairs coming up that we will need to put onto credit cards and then pay off through another account. So that's what paycheck number 1 is looking like. I did want to go over to my monthly and look at what I was able to do with my debt payoff for March. And so this is my total debt payoff plan. I have everything listed here. The $2,800 new balance that we had at the end for my credit union card, that is going to be rolled over to my union card, which is through Capital One. And then the $68 remaining, I can easily pay that off and leave that card at a zero balance and just focus on paying this card off by January of next year. My Discover card, this balance went up a lot because I did purchase myself a laptop at the beginning of the year. So that also has a plan to pay off by the end of the year. This has 0% until November of this year. My balances are going down on my personal loans. The balance is slowly going down on student loans. I caught up on the interest that it accrued during the pause on our payments, and so I am back to actually having some principal come out on that one. So not a big dip in my debt, and that's kind of disappointing because I have made $8,600 worth of payments. And I think that this really is telling as far as putting stuff back on credit cards and also just interest that accrues. So I've only had my debt go down by $677, but I've paid in $8,600. So that is very disappointing to see, but I understand it. I get it. And this is why I have a plan to get out of this consumer debt, because I am tired of paying interest to somebody else. But our total debt picture, we are looking at $116,887.31 for my total debt currently. This one down here, so this is my debt payoff tracker, and this is just for the month. And so we have our starting balance on all of our accounts. We have the amount of payments. So like I made $920 worth of payments to my Discover card. Not all of that comes out of my checking. I do store money away in savings accounts to make larger payments and to kind of again, I think snowball into it, but I'm doing snowball in my own way where I am not having extra anxiety about not having anything in a savings account. So if something came up, like it did with our dog, I could cancel that payment, keep that money in my savings, use it for for an emergency, and then get back onto my debt repayment. And then I did make $420 worth of payments to my credit union card. But for my consumer debt altogether, I am still sitting. My balance actually went up, which again is disappointing, but I had some larger purchases go on to these cards. I ordered my new filing cabinet for my work area on my Discover card, and then we had vet bills for our dog, which our dog is going to need surgery. He's scheduled for the next week or so. And again, I spoke with my husband about that, and out of one of our joint savings accounts, we will go ahead and pay for that surgery. So that's not going to be coming out of my income and my budget and my trackers for me paying off my own debt. That is going to be coming out of a separate account that basically I pretend like the money's not even there. But we are very thankful to have a separate area that we have savings for emergencies like this, because you never know when a very costly surgery is going to be coming up for one of the dogs. I think I covered in my spreadsheet video that we spent about $3,000 to $4,000 on surgeries last year for one of our dogs, and now we're spending about $3,500 on this surgery for a brand new puppy, basically. So definitely it's nice to have those emergency funds that we can restock when we need to. But I do want to see this number drastically fall because of the payments and the new charges that I put on there. I need to be very, very aware about not putting things on my credit cards that are not already allocated out of other accounts. So this is what my debt picture is looking like right now. I'm kind of disappointed in myself, but it is what it is. Emergencies happen, and so we're going to get that taken care of. But we're going to be seeing the balance on this credit union card drop off next month and the balance roll over to this union card. But as I said, I already have that $650 payment stacked up ready to go onto that card. So I'm still very confident in my ability to pay off quite a bit of debt this year. It'll feel like a great accomplishment. It's just life sometimes happens, and that's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. But I want to thank you guys for joining me along with this debt journey. I hope everyone out there is doing well with their goals and their plans as well. I hope that if you like my content, you would hit a thumbs up on this video and consider subscribing to watch me fumble my way through digital budgeting and debt payoff. I appreciate anyone who watches my videos, and I will see you next week with an update on how I'm doing with my budget. Bye.